Hi everyone, my name is Laura and welcome to Book Bubbler. I'd like to say thank you to all of my new subscribers. Hello and welcome. I hope you see something you like and stick around, and a huge thank you to everyone who is already a subscriber and has been here for quite a while. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. So today's Friday reads, let's see, I have one DNF and I finished 4 books. But before I get into all that stuff, I wanted to just do a little update on read-alongs. So I am doing The Way of the Kings read-along, hosted by Christy Lewis at Dostoevsky in Space, and 3 others. I will link them all below in the description. It's going really well. I think I'm 60 pages in and really liking it. I wasn't too sure at first because it's a lot of jumping around. Every prologue, introduction, chapter, whatever, is a different set of people and a different time. So it's a little confusing to know what you have to pay attention to, what you have to retain, since it's moving so much. But I'm 60 pages in. I think it's chapter 2. And so far so good. It was just getting rolling and I had to stop because I had to go to bed. But yeah, so far I'm really liking this. I hope I get less confused as things go along. I'm sure I will be less confused. And then next week, actually starting on Sunday, I'll be participating in the I Capture the Castle read-along hosted by Rainy at Rainy Day Reads and 3 others. I will also link their channels below in the description. So we're going to read this slowly over the week. I'm very glad that I found my copy, and this is where I got to last time in my reading group when I picked it for my book club choice, and I obviously didn't read it. I got to page 62. So yeah, I look forward to actually reading and finishing it. I didn't dislike it by any means. I think I just sort of ran out of time and thought, yeah, I'll catch up afterwards, and then I just never caught up again. So looking forward to this as well. And the one book that came into my house this week was my book of the month pick, and that is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I have never read Riley Sager before. I've heard lots of good things, pretty creepy thriller mysteries, so I figured why not? Plus, I like the cover. It's creepy and green and yellow, and I just like it. So that's all that came in, which is good for my shelves because, as you know, I am not lacking for things to read. So to the DNF. This was my purse book for, I think, 2 months. I always have a book in my purse. It used to just be a mass market, but now that I carry a big purse, I can pretty much bring whatever I want to. But I'm still going for like used copies and thinner books in general. So I thought, I've had this for a while. I will put it in my purse and it'll be my purse book. And that is Balzac and the Little Chinese Seamstress by Dodie Smith, not sure. This was super popular 15 years ago when it first came out. I mean, I saw it everywhere. Everyone was reading it. It was like a book club book for people. That's when book clubs were getting more popular. And I don't know. Sounded interesting. So I think I took my marker out. I think I got to 80 something in here. 70 something? I don't know. I just didn't care anymore what happened to people. So there is a boy, 2 city boys are exiled to a remote mountain village for re-education during China's infamous Cultural Revolution. There they meet the daughter of the local tailor and discover a hidden stash of Western classics in Chinese translation. As they flirt with a seamstress and secretly devour these banned works, they find transit from their grim surroundings to worlds they never imagined. That sounds nice and delightful. And I was just about halfway through and I realized I just super didn't care anymore. So this will be passed along. It's a thin one, but it's off my shelf. It's progress is progress. So to the 4 books that I read this week. First up is one of my library books. It is the only library book that is under my account. I have one checkout here under my friend's account from the lockdown. I'll get to that in a second. But Acorn Cove by Katie O'Neill. This was really lovely. It made me incredibly happy to read it. So this is a children's graphic novel about, yes, it's about aquacorns. Um, but we follow this little girl on the cover here and her father going to visit her aunt who lives in a cove in a little coastal fishing village. The girl's mother passed away a couple of years ago in a bad storm. So this is the first time they have really been back to help rebuild the city or town and work on plantings and everything after there was another destructive storm that ruined a lot of things. So we come to find out that the girl and her aunt can see these aquacorns and that and I think she's a mermaid. I'm not sure what she is. They never really say. It doesn't totally matter. But there's an underwater world out there in the reef. And because of overfishing and things, the reef is dying. And the mermaid lady, this sounds totally crazy, I know. The mermaid lady tells the aunt when she's a little bit younger that they have to stop using their plastic fishing nets because it's pulling too much for each trawl they go through to feed the village and make money. And the aunt ignores her, but the little girl, why can't I find this woman? Here she is, this lady here, which I hope you can see her. Yep, you can. So they find out that, you know, they're destroying the environment and destroying the reef by essentially overfishing, which sounds really heavy-handed as I'm saying this out loud. But when you're reading it, it just seems like, oh no, we have to do something. Or I'm just an idiot. That's probably true, but I don't think it's true in this case. But this was really nice. So at the end, of course, has a nice happy ending. Not unrealistic, but just a nice ending. And then at the end, at the back, there are more information. There's more information about, you know, what's a coral reef? How can we help it survive? Why is it so important? All that stuff. So this was really nice. The colors are delightful. I liked the story. It just made me happy to read it. So yeah, I think I gave this one 4 stars. Really lovely. So the other library book I read that is under my friend's account, hi Jenna, this is, I don't know what number it is, 6 in the County Cork Mystery Series by Sheila Connolly. These are cozy mysteries. This is The Lost Traveler. So, excuse me, it's been just about a year, I think, since Maura O'Donovan inherited this pub and house in Cork, in County Cork in Ireland. And the pub is doing well. They've got live music coming back and things. So Maura takes her lunch break right at the beginning. She takes her lunch break behind the property, and she realizes that she's got some land behind the property and there's a little ravine there. So she walks over to the ravine, just like sit by the water and enjoy her lunch, and she finds a dead body floating. So of course she calls the police, and it's somebody nobody knows. So there is that thread of the mystery body and who this person is. And then there is a family with one teenage daughter of Americans who are visiting around. So they are staying and stopping in the pub occasionally, and you're not sure if they're involved or not. There is a potential involvement of a drug ring in Limerick, based in Limerick, that is now kind of working up here. And on one of the nights when they have live music in the pub, this man showed up to pull pints out of nowhere. No one knew who he was or where he came from, but he did a great job. He didn't even get paid. He just showed up, was pulling pints to help everybody out, and then just left, never got paid. So he's involved. And then Rose, who is the young girl who works at the pub, her dad used to work there too. He got married to that woman. Like, you've all read these series. You haven't. You don't know what I'm talking about. He got married to this woman who has a cattle farm. So he's with her over there, and he's not working at the pub anymore. But Rose is still there, and Rose is taking cooking classes part-time in Skibbereen. So Rose meets this new friend, and she's trying to get the new friend to see if she wants to come and work and maybe just pull pints at the pub on busy nights or whatever. And then everyone gets all in an uproar, and things are connected in ways that you don't expect. And but this was really, really nice. I think I read this in a day. It's enjoyable. I mean, it's low stakes. Yes, there are dead bodies. Yes, there's a drug smuggling ring. Yes, there's human trafficking. But it's all kind of light and breezy. That sounds really terrible to say, but I don't know. I just enjoy these. They're just really nice reads. And I like that it's interesting enough to keep me going. I also really appreciate that the author does not treat anyone else like they're idiots and that our heroine is the only one that knows anything. I mean, she is friendly with the local police and they know they can help each other in certain ways because they can do things the other can't. She treats the patrons of her pub very respectfully, and they have their own little, now sort of a murder group where they investigate every dead body that's found, this group of guys. So then she listens to them. She listens to old Billy, who is always at the pub and lives, you know, just on the road and has been there forever. And I mean, she listens to everybody and puts things together logically, and she's very respectful. I really appreciate that, because so many cozies especially are guilty of the main character being the smartest person ever, and every single police officer is an idiot, and every single townsperson she comes into contact with is the stupidest human being in the universe, and no one remembers anything, and no one wants to help, and that's not the case with these. This is just like regular people who are respectful and don't treat anyone like they're any less than anybody else. So really liked it. I think I gave that 3.5. Next up is Hounded by Kevin Hearn. This is the first in the Iron Druid Chronicles. Is this urban fantasy? I don't know how to classify a lot of this stuff, and I think that's one of the problems I have with genre hopping. Not a problem, but I'm not aware where lines are for certain genres. It just sounds interesting and I read it. This is really highly recommended to me by two of my friends on Library Thing, Mark and Richard, and I have seen now on Goodreads that I rated this, that Cousin of Always Doing, who I will link below, that she read and rated this fairly highly also. So not to put words in your mouth, Cousin, but you know. So this follows, oh my gosh, what's his name? Atticus? That's terrible. Yes, Atticus O'Sullivan. He is the last druid. Druids and werewolves and vampires and demons and things are all real. And he's living in Arizona now. He is at least 2,000 years old, much more than that, I assume. So he and his dog, oh my gosh, his dog is so great, Oberon. He and his dog Oberon, who they can talk to and talk to each other in their minds. They have this sort of head shop, tea shop, and he's using herbalism and all of his druidic knowledge to help people with ailments, whatever else. And he has this sword that's on his back right now that this really bad guy from the underworld thinks that he was stolen from him by Atticus, and Atticus says, no, it flew out of his hands and I picked it up. Like, it's different. So this bad guy is coming back. He finally figured out where he was and is coming back to get the sword and return it to himself and right the wrong, blah, blah, whatever, macho BS. And so Atticus has to protect himself and his dog. His lawyers are affirmed together. That's a vampire who is the night lawyer and then a werewolf who's the day lawyer. The two of them get involved. There is a bartender that he thinks is really cute, and she is being occupied by a very old witch. And, there's witches involved too. I forgot witches are real too. So there's this crazy coven who has aligned themselves with the really, really bad guy. All these old mythic people, like the Morgan, she's real, like all these characters for us are all real. So they're all involved. It's a little info dumpy, I'm not going to lie. And it's also, how do I say this nicely? Very clearly written by a man. Because men can have casual sex and it's all cool. And it's very like almost dude bro, not dude bro, but it's almost dude bro. And women who have casual sex are, they're okay, but they're not treated the greatest. You know what I mean? It's just very male centric. I still enjoyed it. I gave this 3.5 stars. And I'll read the other ones in the story too. It was interesting. It was interesting, I should say. It pulled me along. I read it really quickly too, but I don't know. It's a little dude bro-y, just as a heads up. But yeah, enjoyable. Really liked it. And then my favorite of the week, and what could be my favorite of the month, I don't know. But it's the last Flavia book, The Golden Trusses of the Dead by Ellen Bradley. I really hope this is not the last Flavia book because I love her so much. So without giving too much away, because these books need to be read in order, absolutely. It's not one of those series you can jump in and jump out and figure things out, because I think you'd be confused more often than not. You wouldn't know who anybody was. She doesn't do much explaining, like maybe a sentence for each person. You need to know about Bishop's Lacey. You need to know about Buckshaw and her family, her parents, her sisters, her aunt. Like, you wouldn't know any of that without reading the other books first. And they're delightful. Flavia is just, she's wonderful. Just so smart and precocious, and but not twee and not annoying. And she's great. So in this one, Feely, her sister Ophelia, finally gets married at St. Hagrid's. And one of the storylines here is that when they go to cut the cake, Feely is horrified. She screams like bloody murder, runs back home. Deidre doesn't know what's going on. Flavia goes to look, and there is just one single finger in the cake. So she has to figure out that part. She and Dogger not finally, but they're starting their own business, Arthur W. Dogger and Associates. They're essentially private investigators. So they get hired for their first case, and their first client ends up being murdered. There's so much in here. I don't want to say more than that, but this was just so wonderful. I read this yesterday. Mr. Bradley, you're not watching this, but if you are, would you please write some more, or like at least do outlines so something ever happens, someone can pick this up. But they're just so wonderful. I'm really sad this is the last one right now, but I just love this book. So it's 4.5 for me, but I'm rounding it up to 5 on Goodreads, especially just because I just love the series. It's so great. So that's it for me this week. I wish I would have done better, but I don't know. It's been so nice out too, like when it wasn't pouring down rain. It's been really nice, you know, like 60s, 70s, a nice breeze. So I sat outside and read for quite a while. I mean, it's really been lovely. So aside from reading Way of Kings, and aside from participating in a Capture the Castle next week, the Golden Girls Readathon, I'm still working on that. That is what I read this one for Golden the title. Slowly working on that. I think today I have to work this afternoon, and I work Saturday morning. But after that, I'm just going to be reading all the time. So I'm hoping to really plow through the rest of my Golden Girls TBR stack. For my library of TBRs that I have, there are, I think, 10 books that I need to read that are due next week. So once I work on the Golden Girls TBR, I will be jumping right into my library books before they're due. That's a lot of book reading in the next few days, which is really exciting. And then that makes me annoyed that I have to work or like do any life things, but I think everyone kind of feels that way, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Working on Golden Girl stuff, working on library books. I don't know. I hope you had a wonderful week, and I hope your next week coming up is even better reading-wise. I hope you're all doing well. Have you read any of these books? Let me know. I would love to chat with you below in the comments. And yeah, I hope you're all taking good care. I will see you soon.